Towns in Scotland, Greenock Inverclyde. Our journey through the towns and cities in the UK has taken us out of England again, so apologies to those who may be expecting us to remain in England and pick another town there this time. Of course, we have a good number of videos on the cities and towns in England, and you're encouraged to watch them on this channel. We're now turning to towns in Scotland. Greenock Inverclyde is now our point of call. However, this is not to say that we're done with cities and towns in England. No, we're only seeing to it that we give all the towns and cities everywhere in the UK equal coverage. Please enjoy this video about Greenock Inverclyde. About Greenock. Greenock is a town in the council area of Inverclyde near Glasgow in Scotland. This town is located in the west-central Lowlands of Scotland, forming a contiguous urban area with Gourock and Port Glasgow to the west and east respectively. Lying south bank of the Clyde at the Tall of the Bank, it's where the Clyde River deepens into the Firth of Clyde. This town is surrounded by suburbs and famous areas such as Spango Valley, located to the west of the town. The popular Bogston railway station that is on the Inverclyde line at Bogston, located at the east end of Greenock in the Inverclyde council area, is 35 kilometres west of Glasgow Central. Historical development of Greenock. As far back as 1164, the coast of Greenock had formed a broad bay with 3 small indentations as a safe anchorage. However, the most reliable history of Greenock can be traced back to the late 16th century, when it appeared on the world scene as a small fishing village. A pier and breakwater were created the following century on the banks of the Clyde River. This introduced Greenock to the world as part of the shipbuilding business. In the early 18th century, it was converted into the main port. As of the mid-19th century, the number of sugar ships docking at Greenock had reached 400, and there were about 14 sugar refineries operating in the town. This increased the prestige of the town and its buildings, such as the municipal buildings, which had an impressive 75-metre tower. Sadly, the Second World War dealt a devastating blow to Greenock. Though the industry attempted to resuscitate the economy of the town, it did not reach its height again. In fact, the unemployment rate was high in the 1970s and 1980s. This continued throughout the remaining part of the 20th century. Efforts are still being made in this 21st century to ensure the big town returns to its heydays. It appears that tourism became an unexpected bonus for the town's economy. Friendly residents are readily available to provide support for tourists. Greenock's cultural background. The cultural characteristics of Greenock could be seen in its TV, film and literature. However, let us first talk about the Mothers Club, founded in 1801 by the Ayrshire-born merchants. It was the first Burns Club in the world. There is also the Maclean Museum, the largest in the Inverclyde area. It features exhibitions of the James Watt works and a collection of Egyptian artefacts. There was the Arts Guild Theatre, which was replaced in 2013 by the Greenock Arts Guild's Beacon Arts Centre in a new building located at Greenock's Custom House Quay. This 500-seater theatre regularly hosts programmes of plays, concerts, musical expeditions, comedy performances and other events. It also has a studio theatre provision and a multifunction gallery suite which provides rooms for rehearsal and meeting. The rooms combine as space and cafe for events or performances. The Maclean Museum and Art Gallery provides other cultural experiences. There you can learn about shipbuilding in the town. The Greenockians. The people living or born in Greenock are called Greenockians. Many notable Greenockians have had great impacts on humanity with things they have done for themselves and others. Engineer James Watt was a Greenockian, being remembered by means of several placements in the town, including Watt Memorial School, William Street, James Watt College and James Watt Pub. Another one is Lady Octavia Grosvenor, who has a park and sports centre named in the town named after her. She was the wife of Sir Michael Shaw Stewart, the local MP, who died in 1921. John McGeoch is another person from Greenock known the world over. He is one of the most influential rock guitarists. He was born in the town in 1955. After spending his childhood with his family in Greenock, he travelled out as a teenager. He makes the Mojo magazine's list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time. We can also talk about violinist Henri Tamiaka, composers Hamish McCunn and William Wallace, mathematician William Spence, actors David Ashton, Martin Compston, Stella Gonay and Richard Wilson, playwrights Bill Bryden and Neil Patterson, comedian Charles Sheik Murray, American football player Lawrence Tynes, broadcaster Jimmy Mack, and portrait painter Leonard Bowden. It might also interest you to learn that two Greenockians, Alexander Bruce and Theophilus S. Marshall, were members of the committee that drafted the laws for Australian football. Population of Greenock. In this town's historical development, its population peaked in 1921 when it had 81,123 residents. It was then the sixth largest town in Scotland. Unfortunately, as has been observed earlier, the devastation and economic woes of the town greatly decimated it. It's gradually growing back into the reckoning, however. The mid-2020 population estimate of the town gave it as 41,280. Based on the town's total area of 12.7 kilometres, the population density is 3,250 per kilometre square. When the population of the town was estimated at 42,680, 20,321 males were making 47.6% of the population and 22,359 females making 52.4% of the population. The number of residents 15 years and below was 6,992, 16 to 64 years of age was 27,335, and 65 years and above was 8,353. In another population estimate, 43,573 Greenockians were pure British, only 40 were British and others, while people from entirely other nationalities were 518. According to this estimate, 43,586 were white, 382 were Asians, 81 were mixed or multiple races, and 82 came from other ethnic groups. Crime rate in Greenock. According to one estimate that examines the perception of the people in this town, the level of perception of crime is very high at 83.33%. The increase in crime every 3 years is also very high at 91.67%. 79.17% of the people have worries that their homes could be broken into and their things could be stolen. Greenock's cost of living. In our usual neutral fashion, we will only state the most reliable among what is available in the public domain as the average cost of living in Greenock. According to our source, in Greenock, the average cost of living is £1,033.39. It is close to the world's average cost of living, ranking 4,016th out of 9,294 in a global list, 259th out of 277 in the UK, and 18th out of 21 in Scotland. However, the median after-tax salary is £2,267.78, enough to cover living expenses for up to 2.2 months. Good and bad areas of Greenock. Greenock West is an excellent place in Greenock. Also known as simply the West End, this area of Greenock has streets in a grid-like layout or blocks, unlike the irregular street patterns winding through elsewhere in the town. Lisle Hill, on this side of Greenock, is another beautiful and rich place. The scenic viewpoints of this location, named after well-known sugar refiner Provost Abraham Lisle, are accessible from Lisle Road. The highest point of his hill is Craig's Top at 130 metres above sea level. You would also love Overton, an area in the suburbs of Greenock which offers excellent views across the Clyde River. However, Branchton is an area in the town of Greenock that we can't afford to ignore here. This is an area once dominated by tenements. It has acquired a reputation as a socially disadvantaged area. Braeside is another neighbourhood that is not so good. It is situated on the far west side of the town, with just one primary school in its vicinity. It used to have exceptional needs for a school for handicapped children. Glenburn is probably known for nothing except Scotland's new national female prison, HMP. Otherwise, it's good for nothing but demolition. The pub in the area is very much a village pub known as the Burns. We love this town because, as small as it is, it's accommodating enough to be multi-ethnic. It also has notable people that have made impacts on this world. However, we do not like the level of poverty and deprivation in this town. It's your turn. What do you love or hate about Greenock Inverclyde? Or what did you know or want to know about the town? Please let's know this in your comment.